What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. So this is my second video today, and you can check out the first video. I kind of talked about my frustrations when it comes to this whole process and how we're not getting anything done. Even after hearing some promising news, it's like nothing's getting done. But I wanted to play this video, and we'll do kind of a reaction of Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs did an interview with Stephen Mnuchin last night. I thought there was some pretty good information that came out of it, and so we're gonna play that. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please hit that like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification. We do live streams on the weekends and daily videos. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to play the video, but before I do, I want to talk just a little bit. I kind of want to set everything up. This is Lou Dobbs on Fox Business. I'm not a big fan of Lou Dobbs, okay? Because especially in a situation like this, they're trying to negotiate. You have Stephen Mnuchin trying to negotiate with Nancy Pelosi. We know that this negotiation's been off and on, and now is not the time for you to try to, egg Stephen Mnuchin into saying bad things about Nancy Pelosi or bad things about the other side. And it's one of those things. I like how Stephen Mnuchin kind of maneuvered around these landmines, but Lou Dobbs was definitely trying to egg him on, and you'll see right off the bat when he starts talking about the different things and calling things certain. We're talking about a stimulus package, and he's calling it other things. It's just, to me, there's no time for that. We're in the 11th hour, and we're trying to get this agreement done, and you have an interviewer trying to really egg him on. So you'll see what I'm talking about, but let's go ahead and take a look at the video.
And more breaking news tonight from Capitol Hill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the radical Dems aren't expected to vote tonight on their $2 trillion China virus relief package. The House is giving Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin more time to carve out a deal. At least that's what they're saying. Our first guest tonight, holding a more than 90-minute meeting today with House Speaker Pelosi. He is one of President Trump's lead negotiators for another round of China virus relief funding negotiations. Joining us tonight is Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. Good to have you with us, Mr. Secretary. And give us your sense of where these talks are. It's very difficult to judge because Nancy Pelosi is saying basically it's our way or it's no way at all. Your thoughts?
Well, Lou, first of all, it's always great to be with you. I did have a productive meeting with the speaker today. As you mentioned, I was there for about an hour and a half. I went through a very detailed proposal that I had just come from the Oval Office and reviewed with Mark Meadows and the president. So all three of us were very clear in what we wanted to do. I think it was a very fair proposal that provides a lot of relief for hardworking Americans that have been hurt by this virus, particularly many of the small businesses, kids and jobs that are impacted by this.
Now that's funny, right? I mean, he pretty smooth, right? And Lou Dobbs doesn't really have a comeback after this because it's like, okay, productive meeting? That's not what we want to hear. We want to hear that it was horrible, and we want to be able to talk about the other side. But he didn't get that from Stephen Mnuchin. So it's pretty smooth how he did that. You want to keep both sides. You don't want to really talk bad about the other side when you're in the middle of a negotiation. So let's go back.
Well, the speaker has frustrated any effort to get that relief to those people and small businesses in particular, in addition to working men and women in this country who aren't working. What gives you such an improved outlook on the prospects as of today?
Well, this is the first time, we've seriously re-engaged in what has been several weeks. I can tell you from our standpoint, Mark Meadows and I have been very clear that the president would like to do a deal that's a fair deal and something that can help the American public right now. We're not going to do a $2.2 trillion deal. The good news is the speaker has come down from her $3.4 trillion deal. If there's a fair compromise, we're prepared to do it.
So he said it again, Stephen Mnuchin said it again, we're not going to do a $2.2 trillion deal. So that is off the table. So it's going to have to be lower.
a fair compromise, yet within that, as I understand the bill that could have been voted upon tonight, there would be no money now for law enforcement as there was in the earlier higher package that Pelosi had presented to you. That's now absent. It seems to be going, at least in a number of elements, the wrong direction.
Well, I mean, of course, and I had to cut him off, but of course there's going to be less money to spend. I mean, you're talking about, we're coming from the skinny bill, that $300 billion bill, the $500 billion bill, however you want to see it. That's where we're coming from. That money had no funding for anything. And so when you have to reduce it from 3.4 trillion down to 2.2 trillion in order to have the PPP, direct payments and everything, you're going to have to cut something. So what they did is they said, okay, we're not directly going to cut money from the heroes. We're going to have it added to the state and local funding. Okay, so you have state and local funding. That money is going to go to law enforcement. It's going to go to first responders, and that's all a part of the Heroes Act. Okay, so Lou Dobbs is not being honest when he says that. He's trying to, like I said, he's trying to get something to talk about, like to get Stephen Mnuchin to say something bad. That way they can go after the other side and say they're trying to defund law enforcement is basically the way that I see that going. But that's not true. You have the state and local funding. That's what the money is for right now. And I've said this before. I have friends who are in law enforcement, friends who are police officers. They're on furloughs right now. As we speak, they're on furloughs. Why? Because the state and local governments don't have the funding, and so they have to do furloughs across the board. And it's not just like, if it's a city, it's not going to be just law enforcement. It's going to be all the city employees. And so that's where we are. Like, that's why that state and local funding is very, very important. And it's unfortunate that you do see some politicians that saying, we don't need any more state and local funding. They have enough money. There's $105 billion already that has not been spent or is being spent as we speak. But that money, some of it's earmarked for certain things, so it can't go to all the different programs and all, law enforcement and fire and all that. So let's go ahead and get back.
2.2 is still vastly higher than the number that the president wants. What is there a median number here that is magical in terms of reaching agreement?
Well, the president instructed us to come up significantly, so we have come up from the $1 trillion deal that we had been working on earlier. He's very focused on wanting to make sure that all the people who have been impacted by COVID, no fault of their own, we're delivering relief. As I've said before, our job is not done until we get everybody back to work, and we're going to keep trying.
And when are your next talks scheduled?
I'll probably speak to the speaker again tonight and to touch base. We had some issues we were following up on, and I don't think we're going to make significant progress until tomorrow at this point.
And do you care to share with us the number? If it's 2.2, is it 1.5? Would that be a reasonable median?
Lou, I've indicated it's in that neighborhood. I don't want to give the exact details, but it is in that neighborhood. But it's not just the amount of money, it's also how the money is being spent. So, we're very clear that we want to spend money on more PPP. We want to make sure that hotels, that the airlines get business. There's money for schools so that kids can go to school safely. We want more money for testing and vaccines. So there are a lot of areas where we have an agreement on. And as I said, it's not just the overall number, it's the distribution of it.
And on the issue of distribution, the president has made it very clear he wants direct payments to those who need this money most critically. Are direct payments, and are they provided for?
They are. So the good news is we have reached an agreement that if there is a deal, there are direct payments similar to last time that are in the package.
Okay, so now that's interesting because Yesterday, he did say that he wants the Problem Solvers Caucus, that framework. And so we didn't know, is it going to be just a $1,200 stimulus check, or is it going to be a $1,200 stimulus check plus they will revisit and maybe have another $1,200 stimulus check in sometime in January or February. So it does look like it's just going to be the one $1,200 stimulus check with a $500 per dependent. So much like the revised HEROES Act. All right, let's go ahead and get back.
And I want to turn to the spending bill that the Senate just approved by a substantial vote. That gets us through to 11 December. This is an awkward process coming as it does just before the presidential election. This is a very delicate balance right now we're looking at to fund this government going forward, given all of the challenges, the national emergency with the China virus, the deep slowdown in this economy that is in recovery without question. Where are we headed over the next couple of months in terms of both fiscal policy and the state of the economy and its direction?
Well, the good news is, you said, we got the CR passed. It had broad bipartisan support. The last thing anybody wanted was a government shutdown right now in the middle of COVID. We funded it till after the election, and that's when we'll be having serious discussions about funding the government for next year. And I think the economy is doing a lot better. I mean, there's no question, as you see reopening, you see the economy doing a lot better. There still are certain parts of the economy that are having difficulties, and those are the things we want to support. And there's other areas of the economy that are really doing great. So I think you're going to have a very, very big quarter coming off of a closing.
All right. With that forecast, we thank you for that, and thank you for being with us.
So there's the interview. I think Steve Mnuchin did a pretty good job of kind of laying out the plan. And you heard that he said that later on that night they were going to talk, him and Nancy Pelosi, and then today they will reconvene and talk some more. So we'll have to see where it goes. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the interview? Let me know down below. Do you think something's going to happen today? This is it. This is the last opportunity that I can see for a stimulus package before the election. So let me know down below what you think about that. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.